Here on Matt Zone HD Sportsnet, presented by the JMU Alumni Association, I'm joined by men's head soccer coach Tom Martin. Coach, 2 games in the last week. Last night specifically, a 4-3 double overtime victory against West Virginia. Got to be riding high after that.
Yeah, that was a good night for us. All things considered, very, very good night for us.
A lot of players stepped up in that game. Obviously, Connor Coward with his first career goal. Jamal Umar, redshirt senior, with his first career goal. A lot of role players that found a way to find the score sheet, and even if they didn't find a score sheet, make an impact in the game.
They did. Your analysis is right on point for a number of reasons. We weren't really at full strength last night in terms of our squad selection, but we were at full strength in terms of the evenness of our play, and that's a hard thing to understand because you always preach as a coach, next man up if somebody goes down or somebody's not available, and that's exactly what happened to us. The next guy stepped up, and now it's going to be very difficult to keep him off the field.
Connor Coward with his first career goal. Toby Appleton scored his first career goal last Friday against Robert Morris, scored again last night against West Virginia. What have you seen from those two guys in recent days in practice and even the last 2 games?
Well, Toby, when we recruited him and saw him play and checked out all his references and recommendations, Toby was always billed as an attacking fullback. And he has that inclination to go forward, wants to go forward, obviously is very effective at going forward. And the way we play, trying to get our outside backs involved to the attack, it's a pretty good role for Toby. And last year, his first year, was a initial year of adjusting to the American system and everything from multiple choice tests to dominoes to things 2 games a week, things that just overseas don't exist in the soccer world usually. And Toby came back in pretty good shape, and he's really established himself as an attacking fullback in his words or his coach's words. No, he's been a very pleasant surprise, and he's done very well.
Moving forward, only 2 more non-conference games to go. This Friday night against Furman, next Tuesday against Virginia. At this point in the season, phase 1 of the season is just about over. Where do you think your team stands in the overall picture, and are you as far along as you hope to be at this point?
Well, we're that's a tough one to answer, Andy, but we're probably a little bit behind. And the reason I say that is we've had some injuries and a couple other things where we if you check our lineup sheets, we're not starting the same team every game. We're not starting the same substitution pattern every game. And as a coach, you'd like to have that continuity, have that routine where the same players are going through repetitive training again and again with the same players. But that's one of those things that we just can't control. So you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. And on the other side of that double-edged sword is the fact that we're building a stronger squad. And in intercollegiate soccer, where so many games in a real short window of time, it's important that you have a squad because you're going to have injuries. You're going to have card suspensions. You're going to have a discipline problem here or there. You're going to have a home emergency. There's a lot of things that you can't plan for, but they're inevitable. They're going to happen. And one of the variables to really come into play is you have to have a squad. And I don't mean a squad just in terms of ability. I mean a squad in terms of chemistry and harmony and getting along with each other and knowing each other. And that aspect of this team I really like. And it's always easy for that to come together if you're winning a lot of games. That kind of overrides it and takes care of it. Mm-hmm. But that hasn't been the case with this group. They got off to a rough start, losing a game that they dominated, and then not doing well in the next game. But this squad is a work in progress. You know, we found a lot of things that we could draw on last night against WVU, which is a good team, very good team. And we can build on those things. And that helps that team chemistry, that helps our tactical approach to the game, that helps our depth, that helps our locker room, that helps our training room, because camaraderie is a very important part of a game like soccer. You know, we've always said it, and I'm probably rambling on too long right now, but we always say that soccer is a player's game. It's not a coach's game. We don't have innings. We don't have timeouts. We can't control the game. There are numerous times, just like the Robert Morris game in the first half, or the Virginia game, or West Virginia game for the first 15 minutes. The wheels were off. We'd like to call a timeout and say, whoa, slow down. Let's make some changes tactically, personnel-wise, and see if we can alter this momentum. But you can't. Players have to make those decisions. And in part of that formula to put a team together, that's where I personally just feel that having a squad rather than a starting 11 is more important, because other guys are going to have to row their share of the boat when people go down or things don't happen. And that I see as a real positive with this group. I really do. And as coaches, we all look for short-term gains and long-term gains. You know, what can you do now to help your kids have a chance to succeed? And what do you do now that may lead to success next year, next month, the next decade? And those are the things that I see evolving with this team. I think they're coming along through someone's misfortune becomes other guys' good fortune. And those things are all positives that I see this team drawing upon, and it was clearly why they were successful last night. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't having a deep bench. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was this group coming together, working, making sure their effort was on the field, overcome some adversity, the biggest of which was we gave away 2 goals in 80 seconds, which illustrates the lesson. A team, the most critical part for a team is right after a goal scored, whether it's yours or somebody else's. You know, how you react in that situation. Do you tighten your belt and push harder, or do you relax and maybe give up another one? We chose the latter last night, but ironically, we had a great response, which was what we were saying on the bench. What is going to happen now? We've given up 2 goals, good goals from West Virginia's standpoint, weak goals from our standpoint. How are we going to react? Do we need to make an immediate substitution? Do we need to possibly change some personnel? But it was so early in the game, and with the no re-entry substitution in the first half, our hands were pretty much tied. And now we go back to it's a player's game. Are they going to be able to respond? Are they going to get up? Are they going to put some incentive, some motivation in the game? And they did it very, very well.
Boy, did they respond.
They did. Had
a 3-2 lead 17 minutes into the game.
Yeah, there's not much I can say unless you were there. I was very proud of them. It showed what kind of competitors they are, and they answered the bell.
Well, last night's victory was the first at home this season for the Dukes. Dukes do go back on the road for the next 3 contests, starting this Friday against Furman. On the road this year, technically 2-0 on the road, 1-0 at neutral site games. Away from University Park's been pretty good for you guys, but you guys are going to run into a tough contest against Furman this Friday night.
Well, playing away, as we've talked about before, Andy, in Division I men's soccer, it's one of the hardest things to do to get results. It doesn't matter if you're 45 minutes away or 6 hours away, because there's so much parity on the men's side with Division I soccer. And that wasn't the case 10, 15 years ago. We're on the road at Furman, then Virginia, then Delaware. 3 top 20 teams in just about everybody's poll. A couple will be top 10 teams. When this schedule was set up, we knew that was coming, but we really tried to guard against looking forward to those type of games. But those are the very games that are what we call opportunity games. Delaware working backwards is a conference game, but Virginia and Furman are games where we get to test ourselves on the road and test ourselves in terms of making us better, giving us games where we have something to constantly learn from, and now it reverts back to short-term, long-term games. The preseason schedule was brutal. It's no secret. We knew we probably wouldn't handle it 100% the way we wanted to. Nobody ever does. That's life. But we knew we would learn something from every game, and that's the process that we're going through now. And we look forward to those games because of that.
Well, this Friday night, again, at Furman down in Greenville, South Carolina, kicks it up for 7 o'clock next Tuesday. On the road again in Charlottesville to face the Virginia Cavaliers, also a 7 o'clock kick. Coach, best of luck in the upcoming games. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks. Always a pleasure.